aloha, Chair Cam and board members. We're happy to see you this morning. I know you're on this is going to be a mini presentation just because I know you have a tight schedule. But I just wanted to say thank you. The Hawaii Tourism Authority was so helpful to us when April 2018, we had the floods. We've been working on a master plan for Hāʻena for a long time before that. But really, you kind of helped kick us off with the shuttle program, and really the success of what Joel Guy has been able to do at the Honolulu Initiative is a good example of what working together with the community, with the government, and with private sector can do. So I'm going to hand it over to Joel. He's got to catch a plane, so he gets to go first. So Joel.
Oh, no pressure. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just want to echo Sue's appreciation to HTA after the floods in 2018. When we reopened the area and launched the park, HTA was right there to help us in, I think it was through some enforcement, and just really stepped up right away. So appreciate you so much. It's great to see some familiar faces in the board table there. I was trying to like zoom in. I think I see Mahina over there, but yeah, thank you so much, Sue, for letting me have an opportunity to share a little more of an update. I did get a chance to talk to Chipper Wickman this morning on our kind of weekly call, and he had mentioned that he was able to present to HTA board recently on kind of the whole background of it. So there's no real reason to go into the whole depths of this amazing project that I feel very fortunate to be a part of. It did start, this is our board of directors. Our mission is to really identify the community needs and then implement solutions for the North Shore of Kauai. And we really were born out of the 2018 floods and the implementation of the state park management plan. If we go to the next slide, I just wanted to kind of quickly make a reminder that we, this plan took decades, and there's just so many amazing people like, Uncle Presley and Uncle Chipper that just did so much work on this. And Sue, I mean, you were there every step of the way. A little bit about me, my background. I was fortunate enough to grow up here in Hāʻena. I've been there my whole life. And at the time of the planning, I was the president of our Honolulu to Hāʻena Community Association. So our influence was really, how does it affect the surrounding communities? And how does this implementation of the park going to, there's a lot of cars. There was, 3,500 people a day entering this park, and there was cars stretched up miles outside the park. So while the park is kind of the contributor, there's a secondary impact, and we wanted to make sure that we had a voice in that, and we were there every step of the way. So thank you, Sue, for your input on that park plan. And then fast forward till now, like I said, I work for the Honolulu Initiative. I'm the executive director, and we are a subcontractor of the Hui Maka'ainana o Makana. They have a revocable permit to manage the entire park, and like I said, we are able to facilitate that process. And I'll just kind of go over, I think, more of an update of what we've been doing and what we've learned through the last couple of years of implementing this plan. Does that make sense, Sue? Cool. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide's a little busy, but I just wanted to keep the slides to a minimum. So I'll just kind of go around it clockwise. From the upper left, I just wanted to remind myself and to speak a little bit about the website. The website to launch the process of entering the park, it's a real complex kind of system, and it can be kind of confusing because you have Hāʻena State Park, you have KA, you have the Hanakapiai Trail, which is a day use, you have the Kalalau, the Napali Coast. So there's a lot of kind of mixed messaging challenges that we're up against. And so, the integration of this whole system was really important to have one place, have it be real easy, real user-friendly on a phone. We really felt like that was a big part of our work, was to make sure that was real crystal clear. Yet you also want to make sure you have the complexities to educate people and to work with your partners and the visitors that are coming, so that it was a real important part of the process to make sure that, and we still make improvements. I mean, the FAQs are probably a mile long, and I'm always trying to cut those back. I'm not a big reader, but people on my team are like, no, we need to have every little thing in there. So we go back and forth on that. But the purchasing process, I think, is pretty well. I'll just start real quickly with the residents. You can see they just drive straight, they take a right, and then they go right into the park. It's a pretty easy process for anybody with a Hawaii State ID, as most of you know. And we average about 100 a day. It's been great to see that number increase from a lot less. I mean, when we grew up, it was a place we went all the time, and then we stopped going there. And now you see families coming from all over the island to go and enjoy that place. So it's really, it just warms your heart when you see those kind of families come down and say they haven't been down there in decades. And so, but the user comes in, they go to the website. You can see we're right there in the center, in the light green, and we handle all the revenue collection. All the reservations are made ahead of time. Everything sells out I think most of you know, it was at 3,500 a day. Now the max is set at 900, and we really don't hit the 900. The plan, called for the majority of those to be in shuttle. And I think that was kind of a dream. It was an option that we hoped for. And really, we're doing that in spades right now. We do 450 people a day in the shuttles every single day. And so if you go to that right picture, that's kind of the parking lot at Waipawa, one of our partners. And it is absolutely relentless. 7 days a week, there are, these 24 passenger shuttles that leave there every 20 minutes from 6:40 till noon. And our team is on site every day. And I'll talk a little more about that in another slide, but I just want to share with you, the majority of the people go to the shuttle, and then we do have an allocation of parking lot. The parking is, it's a 100 space lot, but we do save overwhelmingly, the majority of those for residents. And sometimes it's not full, and that's fine, because it was really important to integrate those two components. And I can't impress on you how important it is when you have these management systems that you don't have a parking contractor and a shuttle contractor. If you're going to try and keeping that together really helped us, because then we can kind of, if we have to crank down the parking lot a little bit, you want to stabilize that shuttle because it's a really costly entity, and there's a great revenue potential there. In the middle is the hui, and they're also pictured in the bottom left there. I think that's all of us on one of the work days. As you guys know, those guys have been tending that land for generations, if not decades, working that area. And so it's lineal descendants. They continue to do their cultural farming practices. We're able to, eat and work with them daily. I work with Uncle Presley and Uncle Chipper every week. We meet, we talk. Everything we do gets run by them, as well as the state parks. We work really closely with Alan and David and the Rangers, and those guys are great partners in the process as well. We can go to the next slide, and I think I'll pick up the pace a little bit for you. I'm going to go into 3 quick takeaways that we found throughout the first couple years of operating. The one is the public safety and the difference we've been able to make, and not just us alone, but within the partnership of this management process. We monitor those stream gauges like hawks, and those are what we kind of operate public safety by, and storm patterns. And our team is really interested, and we work closely with state parks on that, because what we found is that prior to let me back up a little bit. We have 450 people on the shuttle. We have another couple of hundred people in cars. They're all going out there to hike for the day. They'll be trapped out there if the rain comes and the rivers rise, and we're stuck responsible for hundreds and hundreds of people. That's a very unsettling feeling for us. So we are very, very cautious of that. And our team is supported by all of our partners to say it's safety first. So when we see a big storm coming in, or it's getting really gonna, we anticipate inclement weather, we can email everybody at one time. We have a full system that we just send a refund out, and everybody says, hey, please stay at the pool or wherever you're doing. Please don't come into this dangerous area. And I think one kind of exciting point that we realized, and this was brought up by one of the fire captains out there, that, we knew that prior to the flood and prior to the management, there was 80 to 120 people being rescued out of Hāʻena every year. And those are our first responders, our brothers and sisters that are in there trying to get them out. And it was all stream crossing, right? There's still the twisted ankle at Kauaʻi, and that still has to, they're still flying out there. But that Hāʻena area was literally 80 to 100 every year that was being rescued. And since we've taken over management, that number's gone to 0. With that, we shut down the park. We're on top of that. Anyway, thank you. The next slide. So the second point of the 3 is we really need to be financially viable. We got to make sure that this whole operation makes sense financially, and that we can keep it alive. Shuttles are extremely expensive, yet we have been. I guess the short answer is we've been really fortunate. And that top left picture is of the Waipawa Foundation, and Stacy's been a longtime friend of mine, and she was, after the flood, she said, yes, what can we do to help? How if we needed some parking spots that were far enough away from the park to make a difference for the community, yet not past the merchants, so that we were causing some concern initially from some of the merchants in Honolulu. And Waipawa was perfect. And Stacey said, yeah, go for it. And those partnerships and these nonprofits are really something that's grown out of this project, that while we have different missions, we share the same values for our community and what we want to do out here. And the revenue at the time, like I said, she let us park there for nothing, and we didn't know if it was going to make sense, and it really didn't in the beginning. We had a grant. It was fortunate to get us off the ground, but now it's doing really well financially. You know, I don't want to micromanage. We pay them every month, and like I said, I don't want to micromanage them, but I did see a brand new skid steer in their garage the other day, and I was like, oh, I bet you we helped buy that thing over there. It was really, and it feels good when you see them, you know, those guys doing that. And then that's our staff on the bottom left. You know, we're able to reinvest in the staff. Everyone has 401k options. We have PTO and the best health insurance we could buy. You know, these are a lot of lineal descendants that were displaced over the years and now are part of the solution in helping to manage this area. Like I said, we still have challenges outside the park because there's still an overwhelming amount at times in this, but we're grateful for this part. The next slide, and this is one that's, there's more than just signs, but I just wanted to say that like our ability to communicate with people and our responsibility to educate the visitor has really, you know, a lot of our staff starts to really think about that. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out how can we improve this system, because, you know, we work for the resident. We're here to care for our community that has to kind of work within the visitor industry's impacts, right? Where we're trying to make sure we have access to these beautiful places. And one way to do that for us is to really lean in and make sure that we help the visitor understand what's going on, how things are going, how they can be of help, how they can, you know, stay on the, just make good decisions. And I think it's, and overwhelmingly the visitor wants that. We find that they're really interested in being able to get good information. So I'll just quickly kind of summarize how we do that. I think it's been exciting to be a part of, and I feel like I'm a little bit bragging, but I just want to share that, you know, it's at the purchasing point that we first make contact with them. And that's a really important part of that email response. Right when they buy their ticket, we can already start communicating with them things that we want to make sure they're aware of. And so that goes back and forth, and we have that kind of know before you go opportunity. And then when they get to the shuttle stop, we are very intentional with our sign development, and we work with Limahuli Gardens and the Hui and State and Waipaw and make sure that everybody is aware of what we're saying, that we're honoring everybody's mission and their vision, that we can communicate to these visitors, this is what Waipaw is doing, this is where you are, this is why this is special, and please go there, but don't go buy all the cheesecake, because we like to buy the cheesecake too, and sometimes we don't buy it all. So we got to be careful with our messaging, but that's another place. So we touch them when they buy the ticket. We touch them at the shuttle stop here, as you can see. And then the next slide, I just wanted to remind me, we have a 25-minute shuttle ride, and so there's onboard messaging that we're able to provide for these visitors. And you know, when you have 450 a day, it ends up being thousands of people, you know, every month. And so if we can, and Sue's heard this a million times, like, why don't you have more videos on the plane? Like, well, that's probably really hard to do. But when you have a captive audience for 25 minutes in a shuttle looking around this beautiful place, if we're not trying to sell cheeseburgers, right? We're trying to educate them on the place and what it's all about taking care of, like, less cars and better educated visitors is really important to us. So we had Mehana Vaughn and Kamealoha guys write this beautiful message, and then Kapua Chandler narrates it, and it's, you know, it has some music. I got to hear it the other day. It had been a while. We took some guests out in the shuttle, and it's just really well written, and it's geographically specific to each area. It talks about the important place names and why those places were named that way. It's just a beautiful little opportunity for visitors to hear. And so that's the third one. And then just the last slide, it's just the final, it's really that face-to-face interaction we have with the visitor. We brief everyone that gets off the shuttle. I used to be a little bit against like they already got that far, let them just go to the beach. They want to go hiking, like, don't stop them. We'd have these kind of like ta-da, like attendants, like, no, we got to brief them when they got the shuttle. I'm like, they're already, this whole process is taken, it's confusing, like, let's just get them. But, you know, I lost that argument, and when we brief everybody, and it's been really beneficial. I'm really grateful that I lost that argument, because I think it's been really helpful for the visitor to just to hear that. And there's great questions. A lot of it's like, you know, don't go swim at Kauaʻi when you get to that beach. There's no lifeguards. You know, stay on the trail if the river rises. Just kind of those quick 2 or 3 points that they remember, and then, you know, make sure when the last shuttle leaves, because it's a long walk back to Waipaw if they miss it. So.
And then Joel, you also do a survey just to kind of keep track of how it's being received, and so I think that's good too. And, you know, constantly, you know, checking back and seeing what's working.
Yeah, data is incredibly important for us. I mean, we have a couple really smart guys, because we scan everybody that comes in and out of the park. So we're looking at, wait times when they come out of their thing. If shuttles take too long, that frequency is really important in picking people up. But yeah, the customer surveys are very robust. We talk a lot about how did you find out about it? Because initially it's like, if people pull up to the gate and they didn't know that there's a management system, that's unfortunate, right? We're really interested in finding out how did they get that far in their experience to not know that you need a reservation to get in there.
Right.
It's been a couple of years now. So, surveys are really helpful for that. How is your interaction? We have a contest between the gate attendants and the shuttle drivers, and whoever shows as much of an improvement in their percentages of ratings gets like a gas card or something. So it's yeah.
Oh, I know. Thank you for that. And I know we're short on time, but I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's been a successful program. It's a constantly changing, as Alan Carpenter and Kurt Cottrell guys say, it's adaptive management. And so we all work together. You're on calls a lot. We'll be coming out with a little playbook here shortly just to share with everybody, thanks to HTA, how we did it and what we're working on. So other people have some ideas. So anyway, thanks for that. And with that, Joel, I know you need to run, but I wanted to say thank you. We couldn't talk about our DMAP without talking about Hāʻena and Honolulu Initiative. So thanks for that. Yeah. And with that, I'm gonna hand it over to Patty, and she's gonna run over some of her slides as well. So Patty.
Thanks, Sue. Mahalo. Aloha mai kako. I first want to extend a big mahalo to Joel for giving the update. Like, that was amazing. And then also to our board and to our board representative, Stephanie Iona, for allowing us this opportunity to share with you just a few updates of our Kauaʻi DMAP. For clarity, you'll see our action items. I've identified those within our DMAP that these updates on the projects that they align to. Next slide, Caroline, please. Although it's difficult to believe, DMAP is still unknown to many island residents, and we have been working diligently to try to get the DMAP message out into our community. Back in January, we collaborated with Hainau on the 2023 Hainau Holo Holo series with Kainoa Carlson. This allowed us an opportunity to briefly share what our DMAP is about, talk about how we as residents and our visitors can malama our natural and marine resources, and also to promote shopping and supporting local, featuring Kauaʻi-made products and our Ala Coco store. Joel talked about, and I know Sue talks about this also, about having a video on the airplane. We're happy to say that in June and July, these two segments, the Hainau Holo Holo series, will be included in Hawaiian Airlines in-flight programs. So we're excited about that. Also, Hawaii Tourism Japan helps us further our DMAP message across with Malama in Action, Rachel on the Road. This series took Rachel Pacaro of Hainau across the islands. And for Kauaʻi specifically, we were able to share a segment focusing on the island's fragile ecosystems, as explained by Mike Demoda, who's the curator of living collections at the National Tropical Botanical Gardens. Second segment featured how the Grand Hyatt Kauaʻi, with Moani Tolentino, their Hawaiian culture manager of Kekumu Ohihi Nui Cultural Center, is supporting the Hawaiian culture with workshops and presentations for their guests and also their associates. These two segments were not only featured locally, but also internationally to a Japan audience. And they were also part of the broadcast lineup during the Merry Monarch Festival. So we got a lot of airtime on that. That was great. Next slide, please. We have further collaboration and engagement to support and promote our Hawaiian culture, which takes a village of cultural practitioners and leaders who become our resources to ensure that our culture shared is being done in the most pono manner. Important to us was creating a hui, bringing together Kauaʻi's cultural practitioners to become our expert resources. And happy to say that with the Kokua of Kainoa Danes, the senior brand manager at HVCB, our hui was named Makali'i, which has ties to Kauaʻi, the chief of Waimea Kauaʻi, father-in-law of Manokalani Po, and also a navigator. And of course, Makali'i refers to the constellation Pleiades, which marks the beginning of Makahiki and the new year, and really a new beginning, because although DMAP, destination management, has been around for so long. I mean, the effort to do this, bringing our culture up to the front, the forefront, it's really a new beginning that we can try to hui everyone, the community, the residents, our businesses, just everyone involved to really make that move forward, to really be pono with our culture. Also, cultural resources and trainings as offered by NAHA continue to be promoted by our resorts and business communities. Oh, with the support of HTA, allowing us to use DMAP funds, we were able to kokua 4 events that were normally part of the CEP, the Community Enrichment Program. This mini RFP, Kauaʻi Festivals and Events, was very specific to action item C4, which states support activities like Kanikapila Song Fest during Hawaii's music and musicians. And the goal of this funding was to support programs that share the Hawaiian music, hula, craft making, and textiles, and also the cultural history of Kauaʻi with visitors as well as residents. These events had to take place on Kauaʻi between the dates of February 17th, April 28th, and we are happy to share that these 4 events were very well received by both residents and visitors alike. Mahalo nui, HTA. I just want to jump. Sue, do you want to add anything?
No, that was just, we were really appreciative that was in our DMAP, so that allowed us to do that. So it was a specific line item that we were able to support.
Well, thank you so much. Next slide, please. We Are Kauaʻi. We Are Kauaʻi is a collaborative effort with Kauaʻi Visitors Bureau, working with the County of Kauaʻi Economic Development Office, the Kauaʻi Chamber of Commerce, Leadership Kauaʻi, and representatives of Makaliʻi. We Are Kauaʻi came about as we were looking for a curriculum really for visitors and new residents to help to best integrate them into our island community with respect for our culture and traditions. That's really important to us. We are so excited that as presentations have and are being done with various audiences, One Hotel Hanalei Bay has taken it a step further, and they created a one-sheeter, this conscious traveler guidelines that they are sharing with their guests. They recently hired a Hawaiian culture manager, so this document includes and ensures the use of proper Olelo Hawaii. So
actually, Patty, just to clarify, this is for their media, for anybody they're hosting for media.
My apologies. Thank you. Thank you for clarification.
Yeah.
We are also excited to share our very own grassroots effort to showcase Kauaʻi in our Malama Kauaʻi video series, which features Kauaʻi Museum, National Tropical Botanical Gardens, Mo'olelo murals, and Prince Kuhio Park. With the exception of Prince Kuhio Park, which will be uploaded soon, the first 3 videos mentioned can be found on our Kauaʻi Visitors Bureau YouTube channel. We want these videos to be educational, not only for our visitors, but also for our residents. And I would encourage you, if you could, to please jump on our YouTube channel and share that out, because the more people that see it, the more people will understand, coming into Kauaʻi Museum, that they'll learn about our island, our ali'i, our history. Next slide, please. And we are very proud of our community partnerships, like with Holo Holo Charters, Surfrider Foundation, and Keoki's Paradise, to name a few. In 2022, Holo Holo Charters gave back over $75,000 to our community with both in-kind and monetary donations. This is huge because this actually shows that the visitor industry really does give back to the community. And we have to work with the balance hand in hand, again, to make things be pono and accepting. Surfrider Foundation helps us to malama our beaches and shorelines and has continued to collaborate with many properties to do these beach cleanups. And they also play a huge part in supporting our Malama Hawaii program. With their Malama Aina series, Keoki's Paradise is helping us bring education and awareness that aligns with our DMAP. They have curated presentations on Hawaiian culture, conservation, native species, our natural resources and environment, and so much more. I've attended these presentations and the turnout has really been exceptional, where it's kind of standing room only, or like I ended up having to sit on the back because I was like really late. So it's been really a great opportunity for our visitors as well as our residents to get this information. And furthermore, in 2022, Keoki's Paradise, so awesome, established a Ho'oulu Award, which honors and recognizes Kauaʻi residents who dedicate their energy to the perpetuation of Hawaiian culture and traditions. The award was developed as part of the restaurant's efforts to give back to those whose contributions relating to environmental and cultural education have uplifted and empowered the island community, such as in line with our 4 pillars that HTA has put forth. Ho'omaikai to Auntie Sabra Kauka and Mike Demota, 2022 and 2023 Ho'oulu Award recipients. However, with these accomplishments and these braggings, stories, there are, of course, challenges. So right now, I'd like to turn it back over to Sue to elaborate further on an ongoing challenge. Sue?
Thank you. Caroline, the next slide is actually just highlighting one of the challenges we have right now. So we're very successful with having people come to Kauaʻi, which is great. I appreciate that. But what we're finding is that we have people coming from off island, mainland specifically, continental US, who are bringing yoga retreats, photography workshops, whatever it might be. And unfortunately, they're actually taking people to places they shouldn't be going to or don't have permits to go to. And why this is a challenge is I have our local photographers who are struggling to survive here, who understand and know what the rules are and aren't allowed to do a lot of these things. And yet these people are flying in, charging lots of money and trying to do this. So we are working with DLNR where we can. I know they're working on a program to try and do more outreach in social media and to educate people. And I've done outreach to these people myself, as you all probably know me too well to know that with Aloha, I have reached out to them to let them know they need to have permits. And if they don't, they shouldn't be coming unless they're in the right places. So it's been a process, and we're going to look forward to working with DLNR on this a little bit further, but I'm just planting the seed that perhaps anybody that's hosting these people make sure that they are in fact permitted in places they're supposed to be and not using Honu as their marketing tool for Art of Seeing Photography Workshop 2024. So it's a process. Thanks, Patty.
Thanks, Sue. Next slide, please. So in the next upcoming months, this list identifies the top 5 projects that we will be working on. You know, mahalo to Keoki's Paradise for starting that Malama Aina series, which really ties in line with our Wildlife Summit. We've been talking about this, and we are gonna make it happen this year. For real, in the fall. We're going to continue to build out Makali'i, continue to add these cultural practitioners and leaders so that they can help guide us. That's what we need, is to be guided and so that we are appropriate. We are going to update and revamp the Aloha for Kauaʻi portal. This time around, we're going to spotlight 20 local businesses, small businesses. So we're excited about that. We're going to start doing data collection at the hot spots just to kind of get a foundation, a baseline of, you know, how many people are going in cars and, you know, just kind of having that monitoring opportunity so that we can know better how to really help mitigate these hotspots and to avoid degradation of these areas. And then, of course, with ongoing community outreach, such as articles on Holomua. Hope you guys have checked it out. We're also doing PSAs on island radio stations with the Pacific Media Group. We're also sharing educational and informational videos, which will be featured on Ho'ike Community Television. That's a whole demographic that I think is missing. Our word, the DMAP word. And then we're going to post on Kauaʻi DMAP Instagram page. If you haven't followed it, it's at Kauaʻi DMAP. Please follow us. And then also continue to do community meetings and presentations. And the next slide, please. That's it in a nutshell. E kulike kako, we're all in this together. You know, it'll take all of us to move DMAP efforts forward to Malama Ku'uhome. And I want to say mahalo to Hawaii Tourism Authority, the various agencies and island stakeholders, and everyone who has come to the table to be part of our movement. And I really sincerely encourage those that haven't yet to join us and be part of the change. Mahalo for your time, and I'll pass it back to Sue to close. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Patty. Now you can see why I got a good one over here. So we appreciate your support, the funding that you've provided for Patty's position, for us to actually do the outreach work as well has been so critical and has really made a difference in the community of people saying, wow, you get it. We appreciate it. You know, people calling me. And so thank you to Caroline, you know, the one-stop shop for us. Every time we have a question, we call her just to double check. So it takes a team to work together. So we're very, very grateful. And we just wanted to share that. I know Stephanie was on our last steering committee and thought it might be helpful to share this with you. So I hope it does help let you have a little insight to some of the work that we're doing, and through your support. We couldn't do this without you. Mahalo.
Caroline, can I say a few words?
Sure.
Sue and Patty, and of course, Joel had to take a flight, but on behalf of, I'm going to say it, Director Tokioka, who is from the island of Kauaʻi, we can't forget that. We are so grateful to you, Sue, and all that you've done through COVID, through your emergency things that you provide to the island constantly. And but I think the takeaway that I had was what it has done. The effort of the park has reached the safety of our tourists, to take those safety issues down to nothing, that now the people are safe. I think what I liked also is the communication that you have when the rivers are rising, and you communicate back to the guests that these are other opportunities you can enjoy and then come back when it's safe. Joel explained that yesterday very carefully to me, and I really appreciated that. But I think what the bigger story is that you've been working on it a long time. And it's something that we are so proud to be working with you and the committee, people like Nalani, of course, our mayor, and everyone who has been a part of making this journey successful. So it's not something new, but it's being enhanced, right?
Absolutely.
With your support and everything.
Yeah.
But I really want to thank you, Sue Kanoho. You are, many of us call you like the queen of Kauaʻi because you do everything. You're everywhere and do everything. But I wanted the authority to all know what a great woman she is.
Oh,
Seriously.
thank you so much. Well,
Thanks so
and
much for
I
us.
will thank Steph. The support you guys provided has really allowed us to get out into the community much more. So whatever little part we were doing before, this is just exploded and done such a better job. And to have Patty as a dedicated person, because whatever I was doing, as you guys know, was on the side, so to speak, because I had my regular job to do too. So having Patty and our destination managers statewide has made all the difference. And of course, we all work together. It's not just her by herself. We really support her. She works with me, with Miley, with Christy, with Lonnie. And Lonnie right now is working on the SEP. So we just finished our RFP submittals for that. So we're working on judging right now. So it's a process. So I think everybody, I think if they understood a little bit more the work that goes into managing the destination, it's pretty significant. And branding is super important, and so is the management. So they all work together. Mahalo.
Hāʻena?
May I as well? I too want to express my deep mahalo to all of you on Kauaʻi. Thank you for being a leader. Thank you for being a role model for how we can come together as agency partner, as community partners, industry partners, and most certainly, homegrown, place-based leadership. What stuck out for me was your folks' clear-minded efforts to foster transparent and visible accountability. And so when some of the criticism that I've heard from residents in terms of HTA and our efforts to work towards a more regenerative tourism model is that people do not have a good grasp of how the dollars that are being generated are actually staying here in Hawaii within our local economy and having this trickle-down effect on, everyday people. And with your folks' presentation today, it's very apparent, it's very evident when I'm hearing that some of these monies are being recirculated to lineal descendants, people of place, people who have a knowledge base that is not only important, but valued by the industry. And their lives are changed because now, perhaps with additional dollars, not only there's equipment to further their nonprofit work, but also, to establish 401ks and other things. I think that kind of story, anecdotal evidence, is the kinds of reporting that we need to do to continue to grow our trust within the community. So I want to thank you, all of your leadership on Kauaʻi, and look forward to hearing more with Caroline's leadership as well from the different islands.
Thanks. And I'll just mention my assistant Becky is the one who does all the reporting for us too. So between Becky and Patty, that's how you get your numbers. So thank you for that.
Sue, Patty, and Joel. I know Joel had to leave. Thank you so much. The focus, the intensity, the passion, it never ends with you guys. And this wouldn't be working without your leadership. And please extend our gratitude to Nalani as well.
We will.
Early on,
Jimmy, you want to say a
Jimmy,
few
you
words?
want to? Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy's there.
Yep.
Jimmy's here.
Oh,
He's all
okay.
stoked. He came
Yeah.
in perfect timing, just
Oh,
when you
okay,
started,
good.
Sue. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Thank you, Chair Cam. Sue and Patty.
Yes, Jimmy.
And I think Joel, I know when I came in, Joel was talking, I think he's left already, but I'm so proud to be from Kauaʻi and to have been working with you, Sue, for longer than we want to mention.
Long time.
I started on the county council at 1996 and it's been since then. But when I've been in some of the meetings with the leadership group here, it's been said on numerous occasions that Kauaʻi, the KVB is the gold standard of where we need to achieve to be as organizations. And this presentation, if anybody anywhere, whether it's in the community or at the legislature, saw this presentation, they would clearly understand what destination management means in the highest respect for everything that you folks have done. So we need to take this message and we need to share this message with as many people as we possibly can, because I was there when the bill was passed to make Hāʻena State Park, to pay the park, to clean up the area, to make more parking, to have the shuttle service. So, through Mayor Kawakami and your organization and Representative Nakamura, Senator Kochi, making this happen. This is what collaboration of a destination management is. And if anybody can tell me that there is a better model, I hope we have more and better models throughout the state. But for right now, sharing something like this with the rest of the community, from the state capitol to, all of the different areas that we manage, we need to share this message as much as we can so people understand when we talk about destination management, how do we spend that money? This is incredible. Thank you both very much for all that we have done to make this a possibility. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo.
And I was just going to say, having the ability to talk to our residents, because that's kind of that wasn't really on our schedule before. We weren't really allowed to do that. That's made a lot of difference for us. So thank you for allowing that, to have our on-island, meetings. When I had Ilihia and Kalani came, and it just really helped. I mean, they're intense meetings. It's not easy. And so, but you got to do it, right? And you got to hear, and you got to show them what we are doing and hear back what they're doing and see where we can incorporate things. So it's a Kako thing, as Patty always says. So we're working together. So thank you for that. But we would not be sitting here with Patty and her guidance and her passion if it wasn't for the DMAP program. So for that, I am so grateful that must continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Director Tokioka. Before we move on, Mahina, can you interpret the term maka'ainana that Joel used earlier in his presentation?
Maka'ainana, in its simplest form or definition, is person of the land, person with responsibilities to the land. And a maka'ainana also has this reciprocal relationship with his ali'i, his or her ali'i. So the ali'i provides a certain level of careship and leadership, and the maka'ainana will reciprocate by working and optimizing and making more efficient all of the water systems that are in place, agricultural systems, making sure that infrastructure is well cared for, so that together these two role groups will make for a healthy and abundant community. Maka'ainana.
Thank you. The president of Hui Maka'ainana or Makana is Presley Wan. In high school, every Wednesday, we would have to wear ROTC uniforms. And my recollection is Presley and I had the most wrinkled uniforms, the most tarnished brass, and our shoes was occasionally polished. But I'm so proud and frankly downright inspired by the leadership that Presley and Chipper Wickman and that group bring to that part of the island. So thank you again, Kauaʻi.
Thank you. And that video you did featuring them and that program was really heartfelt. Thank you for that too.
So before you get off.
Yep.
Dylan Ching, I have to make this public. For what you did and for what you continue to do on Kauaʻi, And I know you do it on other islands with your restaurants. From the bottom of our heart, thank you. I mean, I don't know if anybody realizes what his restaurant chain has done. Sue knows, I know, Jimmy knows. And every time we have something happening for our community, they're there.
Yeah.
Duke's Restaurant, Kilki's, always there, always being that driving force. So I think there's champions in every community. But you, Dylan, honestly, from the charity walk to everything that you have done to help us grow our message for Kauaʻi and our community. Mahalo for everything, Dylan.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
didn't know we were going to put that in there, by the way.
I was gonna say no extra funds were given to do that, but I will say obviously Sue and Patty, everybody is obviously, it's not me, it's you guys, and it's also our boots on the ground, Darren and Derek and all those guys there. And it's amazing. I said this before, but and I'm not from Kauaʻi. I spend a decent amount of time there. I'm from Maui, but I am not too proud to say that I'm very humbled and in awe of how Kauaʻi handles itself. And it is a great model. It really truly feels like one island when I get there, and everybody is amazing, so hardworking. And thank you for highlighting Kilki's and what they're doing, and in conjunction with what everybody else is doing. It's a good example of what the ability of a private entity can do to take action quickly and work with the stakeholders and the government to do things that just benefit the community. I think, as you mentioned, Malama Hāʻena series, when we put it together, we weren't sure, also want to recognize Mary Lou, who always puts us, Mary Lou Foley always puts everybody in the right room. But when we put those things together, we weren't sure what the turnout would be. But as you say, we were very, very surprised on how many people were interested in treatment, and it's been amazing. So thank you to all that you do. It truly is an amazing island, as they all are. But not being from Hawaii, I'm very humbled to be just there as a spectator sometimes, and a small part of what an amazing job you guys all do there. So great job, everybody, and mahalo.
Mahalo.